is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hello, and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. And on this show, you know we're dedicated, and I search high and low to find the best people who are going to help you to think and act more strategically. And today I'm excited to have Paula Rizzo with me, and you've got to check out the show notes and see what she's all about, because I can't even read the list of media that she's been on, TV shows, and all the publicity. She is a media strategist and a productivity author, to keep it short, and she's the author of Listful Thinking and Listful Living. Paula, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm excited to talk lists and productivity and taking back your time.
Yeah. Well, so before we get into that, let's just understand, why is this important to you?
Sure. My background is in TV production, and I spent my career as a television producer, and I'm an Emmy Award winner, which is very exciting. And I've worked in local and national news in New York. And being a television producer means that you have to meet your deadlines no matter what. It's a very,
pretty
focused,
high pressure too, right?
Yeah, it's a focused environment. You have to be on your game. And so list making was really the key to success there. And I realized I wasn't really doing the same things at home, and things were falling through the cracks. And that gap there was really what pushed me then to start a blog. I started this blog about, 9 years ago, listproducer.com. And that eventually morphed now into my 2 books about list making.
Fantastic. Well, leave it to us whenever we have a problem we need to solve for ourselves, then we, start to get really good at something like that.
Exactly. You teach what you most need to learn.
Yeah, totally. So was there a pivotal moment where you said, this just isn't working for me?
Yes. My husband and I were looking for an apartment in New York City, and I was so overwhelmed. I would go into apartments and leave and not remember anything that I looked at and have no idea what was going on, and be like, well, that one had a wine fridge. And then I was derailed and I didn't know what was happening. So I decided to look at that task like I would a shoot at work. If I was going to interview somebody, I would have a list of every question I needed to ask. I would have a list of every shot that I needed to get, because even though I was skilled at that job, distractions pop up, things happen. And so I needed that checklist. So when I started to use the checklist for the apartment search, I was like, okay, now I'm much more focused. I know what I'm looking for going in. And when I come out, I have a real tally, a way to compare these things. So people started then asking for this list. It was funny. In the newsroom, they were like, oh, can I have that list that you used to get your apartment? And a realtor saw it, and he was like, this is a great idea. And from there, I was like, okay, I think people need a little bit of help. They're not thinking in lists this way. They're not, doing this for themselves.
Well, I think you said a key thing that's really important that I want to highlight is that it's not that you didn't have the skills, right? Some people, when they get a checklist, when they get to a new job, they think, why are you giving me this checklist? Like, I know what to do. But I think you said it so beautifully, is we get distracted. Yeah. Squirrel, right? Yeah. And 100%. So it helps us to get back on track faster, right, when we get distracted. So I really like that you highlighted that for people to really get clear, how lists can be of service, even if you already know what to do.
100%. And, doctors, surgeons use checklists, pilots use checklists. This is something that, they're highly skilled at those jobs, I would hope, right? But they need that too, because things pop up and things are unexpected, and you want to just make sure it's exactly the same every single time. If that's the cheat sheet you need to use, why not? It'll make you more efficient.
Absolutely. I agree. So I asked this question to everybody on the show, and it's really, how do you define productivity and why?
Wow. Okay. Well, I would say that I define productivity as a way to get the right things done, and not just getting things done. Okay. Because I want to make sure that I get the right things done, that will make me less stressed at the end of the day. That's the key. I spent a long time as a health journalist. And so I have seen what stress can do to people, body, mind, and soul. And it can really take a toll on you. And a lot of that is because of our lists, because of what we put on there, because of what we're trying to do in a day. And I want people to take a step back and say, okay, well, maybe I don't actually have to be doing half of these things on my list. Maybe it's just something I don't really need to be doing myself. I don't need to be doing ever. And it's this pressure and this stress that you put on yourself. And then you're not getting to the things that you really would like to be doing.
So you're seeing this list as a way to evaluate and review what it is that you have to do so that you can also reduce it down.
Absolutely. And it is very much about being intentional about what you put on that list. Every night before I leave my desk, I did this in corporate America. I do this now that I work for myself. I make that list of what I'm going to do the next day. And I only put things on that list that I have the time and the resources to do, as opposed to, let me just dump everything I'd like to do in the whole wide world and climb Mount Everest and pick up milk and do this and do that. Too many things, too much. Your brain can't handle it. Yeah, it's unfair to do that to yourself. So I say, be a little bit more picky about what you're putting on your list, what earns its keep on that list. I was going to say, this really came to me about a year after my first book, Listful Thinking, was published, because my appendix burst. It's a freak thing that should not have happened, but it's very painful.
And it wasn't on the list.
It was not on the list. And so I pushed back and I was like, nah, I think it's food poisoning. I think it's okay. It'll be fine. I waited 2 days, which is like an eternity. And I had to have emergency surgery. I was in the hospital for 8 days. I was out of work for 6 weeks. It took me a year to recover. But when I came back, I was very intentional about what went on that list, because I knew my priority was health at that point. Nothing else. Everything else came off my to-do list. And guess what? The world still spun and things still got done. And it was, some of your to-do list is ego. You think you need to be the one doing it. Not the case. But that was a really smart lesson for me. It was a painful lesson, but it was a lesson to really say, okay, I need to focus this list and make sure that it really is, the things that are on it are earning their spot there.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, what do you think? I interviewed somebody around procrastination. And, he was like, well, in order for me to feel good about my list, I got out of bed, had coffee, right? And he's putting like all these like really little things that he does throughout the day just to sort of get some dopamine going as he's checking that off the list. How do you feel about something like that?
It does work. It does work if you need to trick yourself to get into going and to get into doing. I love to procrastinate. People always think, oh, you must be so organized. You must no. It's like, I love to wait till the last second, but I know what that does.
You really love it. Wait a second. You really love it.
It really, working in TV, you're waiting till the last like 15 seconds before something's about to happen on the air. You're still working up until that last second. It's a really exciting thing to wait that long. But it will,
right? Because there's news coming in. So it's
absolutely
of that business. There's a difference between that being how things are versus you created it.
But it's not sustainable.
Right.
It's really exciting, but it will give you an ulcer. So it's something that you don't want to chronically do to yourself. Right. Exactly. You do not want to do that to yourself chronically, but it is a good way to get things going. But I have learned to sort of not procrastinate, because I don't like the way that then I feel in that moment. Right. So it's exciting at first, but after a while you're like, I'm just too stressed out. Why did I do that to myself? But there are reasons why we procrastinate.
Of course.
There's fear, fear of failure. Maybe there's also things you just don't know how to do, like your taxes. You don't know how to do it, so you put it off. Or maybe it's something that you don't even want to do, and it keeps making you feel guilty every time you see it on your list. So, you need to look at those things that you're procrastinating chronically.
And so what do you say when they're on the list and you move it to tomorrow's list and the next day's list and so forth? Is that okay with you?
No, it needs to be reevaluated. You need to know, why is it that you're not doing it? Is it because maybe you don't have to do it yourself and you need to give it to somebody else? Is it because you can't do it? It's never going to happen. Like, you put something on there like write book. You're never going to do that tomorrow. Like, right. I don't know how. I'm a fast writer, but I'm not that fast. Nobody is
too high of a chunk, right?
Exactly.
It's the end goal versus the task. So if
Right.
I hear you correct, you want to see the tasks that are moving towards those end goals.
The little small wins, right? Those little small things that I can do. Maybe it is, doing some research or creating an outline or something. That is something
Right.
you could do in a day that you could
Absolutely.
do to move forward to that. And then there are certain things on that list that you are never going to do. And it's okay. And give yourself permission to just check it off the list forever and be done with it. There was a woman who I interviewed
In
who
my
wrote,
office.
yes, well, why not if you don't want to. There's a woman that I interviewed. Her name is Karen Rizzo, and we're not related, but we both love lists. And she wrote a memoir in list form. So it's all of her old lists that she kept and found through the years of her life. And it's really a fun read. And she always had learn Italian on that list. And even on the last page. And so when I talked to her, I said, so did you do it? Did you learn Italian? She said, no, I never learned. And it was making me so guilty. And I felt so terrible that I finally just took it off the list. And I'm so much happier. So sometimes we need to do that. We need permission to say, it's okay that you're not going to learn Italian. No problem. Get over it.
I agree with that. But what about also the fact that we need some things to dream about?
Yes.
Right? Like learning Italian might mean that she could go to Italy and learn Italian in Italy, right? And then there's maybe more juice behind it. Isn't that okay to have some things on our list or on our radar that we want to aspire to?
Yes, but you have to be completely aligned with it. And even with her, she wasn't aligned with it. She didn't really care. She thought that she did, but she didn't. So we make,
she would have done it, right?
Yes, we make time for the things that we really truly want to do. People always are like, oh, I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough time to do that. How much of a priority is it for you?
Right. Oh, it's a total excuse, right? If I give you tickets to your favorite band and the backseat VIP tickets and your day is slammed, you're going to figure out a way to get to that concert and cancel everything, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's a really good point. So I love this, just getting people to step back and really reevaluate. I'm all about that as well. What do you think are some of the myths or the challenges that people face around doing quality lists?
We're our own worst enemy a lot of the time. We set ourselves up for failure all the time. And if you just take a step back and say, okay, what is my mindset around the day? If you're starting your day in a frantic way and you think you don't have enough time and you're never going to get it all done, guess what? That is what your day is going to be. Right. You're going to 100% have that kind of day. But for people to step back and realize that about themselves and say, okay, I keep saying that I don't have enough time. I keep saying that I'm too busy. Are you really too busy? Or is this a story that you constantly tell yourself and it really puts you in a different mindset?
That's the energy, right? Somebody yesterday, I just heard them say that you set the weather, right? And so that's kind of what it is. This is your weather report and the energy that you're putting towards everything you do. I always say also it's how you show up for the time that you have that's going to make all the difference between whether you're productive and you get those things done on your list or whether you get to the end of the day and you're like, I didn't get anything done.
Perspective, and it's just perception is reality, really. And one of the things in my second book, Listful Living, that I have people do is to do sort of an audit of how do you feel at the end of the day? Mm-hmm. And, when are you your most stressed and what is around you and what were you doing and why were you doing it? And then evaluating, do you really need to be doing those things or those things that you want to continue to do? And I think now that people have gone through this pandemic, we've gone through this, crazy time together and everyone is now reevaluating what's really important. What am I going to continue to put on my list or continue to aspire to be or to do? It's changing.
Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Go to distractionquiz.com and find out your distraction profile. Are you a time zombie or a hamster? Take this free distraction quiz today to rate your ability to focus on what keeps you from being a wizard. Go to distractionquiz.com.
I want to come back to what you said in the beginning again, because now we're more distracted than ever, right? We came into the pandemic completely distracted. I think there was a statistic that I saw that 60% of the people felt completely physically depleted, mentally gone. And so now we're closer to probably 90% because of, riots and politics and pandemic and illness and kids working from home and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So many more distractions. So I would think that making this part of your daily practice is that much more important so that you can stay focused.
100%. And it takes 23 minutes to reset once you've been distracted. So that's a long bit of time. That's a big chunk. Yeah. When you're in the middle and you're doing your thing, you get distracted. And where was I? What was I doing? So what I tell people to do is to have a distraction placeholder. And I put this on my to-do list. And if you go to paularizzo.com/lists, you'll get my list making starter kit. And it has how I make my lists every single day. And it's very specific. So on the left side, I put everything I need to do for work. On the right side, all my home to-dos. And then the bottom left is my distraction placeholder. So if I get distracted, before I jump into the distraction, I've now trained myself to pause and write down what I was in the middle of doing. And it takes a lot of practice to be able to do that and stop yourself and be mindful, but it really helps.
Because so that you can get back into it quickly.
Yes, absolutely. Then you sit back down or whatever it is, you got the laundry went off or whatever now is going on, somebody's at the door. And then you sit back down and it's like, what was I in the middle of doing?
Right.
And instead of trying to figure that out and then getting distracted by Facebook and getting distracted by a new email that you just got in and never getting back to the original thing, have it written down. You have it really like tacked there. So you can say, oh, I was writing that email. Let me do that. So you start to train yourself to get back into that mode so that even if you do get distracted, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important, right? Because we have to face that we do get distracted. So it's having strategies like that help us get back into things more quickly. The way, just to give the listeners, another way to look at it. So the way that I structure my lists is in categories. Mm-hmm. So, you did too, work and home, but I will separate out into buckets some of the higher categories of work. So as an entrepreneur, I've got, different hats. So I've got marketing on there. I've got delegation and things that I need to delegate every day, which, by the way, is my favorite thing to do every morning so that I feel like I'm already super productive because I gave away something and I know I'm going to get it back.
I love that.
And so, things like that. So, I'll have client work as one bucket. So I usually have about 6 or 7 buckets and then the top to do things. And it's my weekly to-do list. That's how I do it.
Okay. Yeah. I do it daily. For me, it needs to be fresh every day.
Right. And then I have a second list, which is my daily list, right? So I'll identify in that weekly list what things, need to be done in each day. So that helps to keep me focused on the day, but I also know what I need to focus on for the week.
I love that. Yeah. It's all about, really tapping into your own productivity style as well. I always tell people, don't become a morning person if you're not a morning person. It just doesn't work. And I know there's all these productivity experts out there who will tell you, oh, everybody's getting stuff done at 4 a.m. Awesome. Good for them. It makes me cranky. So that is not what I do. I am very specific about when I can start working and what I do. I get up in the morning and I like to have me time. I like to do yoga. I like to meditate. I like to read the newspaper. I like to drink some tea. That's how I want to start my day. And then I'll be ready to start, working with clients or doing media or doing whatever it is that I'm doing for the day. But I like to do that first. A lot of times I tell people, think about, what you'd like to do before lunch or after lunch, and then, stack your day that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like it. Do you do themed days of the week?
I do a bit. Yeah. I have usually Mondays I take for myself as sort of like a starter day to look at the week. And when we used to meet with people in person, I would have a lot of lunches or, meet people for drinks or whatever it was on Mondays, which was my connection day. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the day that I meet with clients or I do media or, whatever it is that I'm doing. And then Fridays I keep for creativity. So Friday is my day for writing. Right now I'm actually in the middle of writing a novel. And so I meet with a writing partner every Friday. We meet every Friday. We say hello. We put ourselves on mute on Zoom. We write for, we do Pomodoros. So we write for 25 minutes of targeted time. And then we stop. We say, how did it go? Do you want to keep going? Yep. We set another 25 minutes and we write again. So it's a good way to keep consistent, right? To have the accountability of someone there and to also have those little focused pockets of work time.
Absolutely. I've, that seems to be the thing that I noticed first in the kids is that they connect over Zoom and they do their homework or not Zoom, but whatever, FaceTime or whatever program. And then they do their homework and stuff and then chat a little bit here and there in between. So it does help to have that other person on the line. Whatever it does, right, it is that accountability that they're going to get stuff done. You're going to get stuff done. Just to close that out, do you guys like set a goal for each 25-minute segment of writing and then come back and say whether you reach that goal, or how do you structure that?
We do usually talk about, we're working on completely different things. She's working on a memoir. I'm working on a novel. So we'll talk about what kind of scene we're writing or what we think we're going to write. And then we do that. I've been in other writing circles before where we do set a goal for, how many words do you want to write or how many, that kind of thing. We're a little more loosey-goosey with it, but we do talk about, set the intention. Okay, what are you going to write? So it's not like you're sitting there staring at a blank page. You already know. And that's the whole point, with writing a book. So many people always will ask, how do you write a book? And for me, it's really these little like micro things.
Right.
Tiny little pieces. Yeah. It's, every Friday I'm like, okay, this is the scene that I want to write, or this is what happens next. So I know going in that that's what I'm going to write. I'm not going to sit there and think about what I'm going to write. I've already done that work ahead of time.
Right. Awesome. All right. So last question, and then I'll open it up for anything that you have that you want to share. What's your go-to tool? If you everything got deleted off of your workspace and everything, what's the first thing that you would add back outside of Office and that kind of stuff?
So interesting. I don't know. I mean, email, of course, like that's so boring.
Right. Outside of email and Excel and Word or whatever, what's the first thing? Like there's maybe a tool that you use that's a shortcut or that, you take notes on or that you use every day.
I'm on a blank note right now, but what I really actually do love is voice memos, voice notes. It's like my new favorite thing. And of course, video, because, as a video producer and as a media trainer, I'm always encouraging everyone to do video and to do more of it and to show your personality and all of that. So I do a lot of video and voice memos and notes for people. So if I can't meet with you in person, I will go to Vidyard, which is a program that you can just create a quick video and send somebody a link. And then you're able to talk to them, which I find to be really, really great. Or I use Voxer, which is for audio notes. So you can send a note to somebody. And I find that to be so productive because a lot of times I procrastinate on writing back to people, writing back to emails, writing back to text. Because it's like, oh yeah, I have to think about what I'm going to say. And there's a link I want to send, and it just like, and then you don't do it. So for me, it's like, if I can just get on video because I'm comfortable with it and just say, hey, here's what I think. Or if someone's asking me for a recommendation for someone, I'll be like, she's great and here's why. And I'm able to tell them this way. It's much easier to just get that done. So I would suggest either of those tools because I think they're actually pretty great.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is I do think that is something about voice of just picking up the phone, and having that quick conversation versus the text or, like you said, just sending the voice message. And it gives you permission not to be perfect with it. That somehow when we're writing it, an email or something, that we've got this perfectionism bug on you got to do this, you got to say the right thing and do the right thing.
And the tone, how is the tone going to come across? It could seem like you're blowing someone off when you're really not. If I write an email and be like, unfortunately, I can't meet today. That gets received and someone's like, ugh, but if I'm on a voice memo, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't meet today. I wish that I could, but I won't be able to do it. Send me, an email instead, whatever. That's a way different way of communicating.
Absolutely. So they get really the whole thing. So I really like the voice memo. I don't use it as much as I like it. So I'm going to use this conversation to remind myself that I think that it's a really easy and efficient way. I do use the voice part for my text, but what happens there.
Oh yeah. So the dictation.
All sorts of mistakes. Yeah. No. I mean, like Siri, rewords it and I don't check it because I'm bad with that. And then people are like, what?
It is funny though, when you're used to dictating your text, so you're saying it in a different way.
Right.
And when you're actually leaving the memo, a lot of times people will have like robot voice. So it does take a little bit of time. I do a lot of media training with people and I trained a sales team that was used to leaving a lot of messages on the phone. And, they go into their spiel and they sound a little robotic because they've said it a million times. And when they were doing video, they sounded like robots. And I was like, hey, you guys, listen to yourselves. It sounds robotic. And they're like, yeah, that's how we leave messages. Oh my gosh, we never realized.
Nobody calls back, right?
I know. And I was like, okay, everybody needs to just like calm down and let their personalities come through a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever made the mistake where you were actually leaving a message, but you thought you were dictating, like your brain just switched on you and you said period at the end of the sentence?
That's very funny. Yeah. A new paragraph, comma. Yeah.
It's happened. So guys, if you're doing it, make sure that you're present with what you're doing and you're not doing that, because even though you'll get a laugh out of it, it's not so good. So any last thoughts that you want to leave the group with? I know you've got a giveaway that I want you to share again, and then we'll say adieu.
Sure. Yeah. I think just, don't be so hard on yourself. We're so hard on ourselves that we look at that list and we're like, oh, we didn't do this and I didn't do that. And, just give yourself a break. Sometimes you need to be able to say, hey, I'm not going to do this and it's all right. And I'm going to get over myself. No big deal. And put something on there that you really want to do. And that will make you feel really excited and happy about it. And if you go to paularizzo.com/lists, I have a list making starter kit and tips and tricks on how to be more productive and less stressed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for being here and listening intently and making a list of the things that you're going to do after this show, including going to Paula's website and downloading her list and getting your list strategy together so that it can help you be more focused and block out distractions. And also some of the other tips that we talked about today. So thank you for being here. And my name is Penny Zenker, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, everyone. This is Take Back Time. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.